Today's talk is about chapter 2 of the Stri Dharma Paddhatih, and it is titled Vivaha as Upanayana for Women. The Shastras have declared Vaivahiko Vidihi Strinam Aupanayikaha Smritaha Pati Seva Gurau Vaso Grihartha Agni Parikriya, which means the Shastras have ordained that for women, Vivaha Samskara or marriage is the equivalent of the Upanayana Samskara of men. Service to the husband is her equivalent of residence with the Guru, and the household chores are the equivalent of tending to the sacred fire by the husband. Let us understand why the Shastras have made this declaration. The Upanayana ceremony for boys is the one that gives them the status of a Dvija, a twice born. For women, that status is given after Vivaha. The Upanayana ceremony is what awakens the dormant spiritual tendencies in the boy. The human in the male form has the X chromosome and the Y chromosome, whereas the female form has only two X chromosomes. The spiritual potential in the form of connection to one's ancestry, connection to the devatas of one's family, and the connection to the rishis of the lineage comes through the possibilities of the Y chromosome. That is why the Gotra and the Kula are established at the time of the Upanayana ceremony. For a woman, in the absence of the Y chromosome, before Vivaha and sexual intercourse, the Upanayana ceremony will not hold any meaning because there is nothing to contain the initiation given. It is after Vivaha and conceiving a child, which means after sexual intercourse, that the woman's body receives the Y chromosome, and therefore her Gotra and Kula changes to that of a husband after Vivaha. So it is natural that Vivaha is the equal initiation or preparation for women into the sadhana marg. An important feature of the Upanayana ceremony is giving the sacred thread to the boy who is initiated. This sacred thread is known as the Upavita. It is worn in one of the three ways. If it is worn on the left side of the body, on the left shoulder, it is called the Yajnopavita. When it is worn in such a manner, and the boy utters mantras, the vibrations of the sound of the mantras are stored in that cotton thread. These vibrations send more prana to the left side of the body when it is worn in the style of the Yajnopavita. The left side of the body has the Ida Nadi. For any spiritual practice, for any intuitive action, for any religious practice, it is important that the Ida Nadi should be active. And this is accomplished by wearing the Yajnopavita by the men. For women, the same effect is accomplished if she wears the sari with the pleated ends on the left shoulder and tucked in on the waist. The pleats ensure that the charge is collected in the edges of the sari and channeled in such a way that her left side will have more prana and will be more active during the performance or participation in such rituals. The ancient texts clearly mention that in the absence of a cord of thread, a cotton cloth worn in the same way will serve the same purpose. Therefore, the sari worn on the left shoulder, serves the same purpose as the Yajnopavita for men. The men can also wear it on the right shoulder. This is called the Prachinavita, and this is done when the purpose is to make offerings to one's ancestors while doing the Pitru Karma. When it is worn on the right shoulder, the performer will observe that Prana and Kundalini Shakti is pulled upwards. This will be accompanied by vibrations at the top of the head, and this is necessary to open the subtle channels of communication to the Pitrus and make the offering. The third way of wearing the Upavita is in the form of the Nivita, where it is worn like a chain, like a mala. When it is worn in such a manner, the flow of prana will be downwards towards the reproductive organs. And in this form, that is in the style of the Nivita, women also are given the Upavita at the time of Vivaha. And that Upavita is the Mangal Sutra. Traditionally, the Mangal Sutra was a thread just like the Upavita of men, and it is to be worn in the Nivita style for men when they perform worldly actions, whether it is physical labor intensive or of the nature of mental work, and also when they're engaged in reproductive or excretory functions. For women, it is worn in the Nivita style because it is necessary to channel prana downwards for her reproductive and menstrual processes to function as it should. So there is the same Upavita for women as well. Then comes the initiation into the Gayatri mantra done for boys at the time of the Upanayana. As many of you are aware, Gayatri is the name of the Chandas. The mantra itself is for the Surya Devata. It is the Savitar mantra. And we find in the Stri Dharma Paddhatih an entire section devoted to a similar practice for women called the Arghyadanam. Just as the men have to offer water to Surya Devata and utter the Gayatri mantra, women too have to offer water 3 times a day to Surya Devata and utter the prarthana or the hymn to the Surya Devata. This prarthana is provided in the Stri Dharma Paddhatih, and we will explore it in detail when we cover the chapter on Arghyadanam. But for now, we must be aware that there is an equivalent utterance for women, which is more in line with her biology. Now we come to the portion where the Shastras say that Pati Seva is the equivalent of Guru Seva for women. This is very important to understand because this is not a mere symbolic statement. Through Vivaha, the husband and wife are linked in a way which is similar to that of a guru and his disciple. Any spiritual initiation for a woman works best when it comes through the husband. Some may think that the husband does not seem to be capable of such an initiation. The husband may not fit one's idea of a guru. In all such instances, we have to remember what Sita Devi said to the Rakshasis who were telling her all sorts of negative things about Sri Rama to convince her to become the consort of Ravana. The Rakshasis told Sita Devi that Rama has nothing. He has lost his kingdom. He wears tatters for clothes. He lives in a forest. He has not even come to look for you, and he may never find you. Why then are you pining away for him? Why don't you accept Ravana's proposal and live joyfully? In response to this, Sita Devi says, Dino va rajyahino va yo me bharta sa me guruhu. Even if he is a destitute, even if he is deprived of his kingdom, the one who is my husband is my guru. A woman can, by the purity and intensity of her thought, bring her husband towards dharma if he is not already in that path. The Shastras have said that by worshipping her husband as the Devata, a great transformation can come about, not only in her life, but also in the life of her husband. If the worship is with purity and with the intensity of visualizing her husband as Narayana, then without doubt, that change will happen in the life of a husband. If a woman is initiated by one who is not a husband, then the link between the husband and the wife will be diluted. And there is a great chance that she will move away from samsara and towards sannyasa. In such cases, or in the case where a woman has a deep desire to be initiated in a particular sadhana or mantra, the correct way of going about it is by making the husband initiate her. For this, the husband should first take initiation in that particular sadhana or mantra from the same guru, if possible, who has initiated the wife. And then he must put to practice what has been taught. By going through the entire process of the sadhana, the husband will not only know the dangers and the difficulties in that process to be able to guide his wife later on, but also he would acquire the necessary spiritual merit to be able to initiate her. Once the husband has reached a certain maturity in that particular sadhana, and when he intuitively knows that he is ready, he may initiate the wife. Such initiation can happen when the wife, considering the husband as her true guru, touches his feet, and he, in a standing posture, blesses her and transfers that sadhana or that mantra to her. This will have the same impact as a Shaktipat. And it will be far more effective and fruitful for women when she receives such initiation from a husband. If a woman is unmarried, the Shastras have given instances of Brahmavadinis who did not get married. In such cases, the Shastras have specifically mentioned that she should be initiated only by her biological father or her father's brother or her own biological brother. This is because in these cases too, there would be the same gotra linking them together. After the initiation, it is necessary that the woman stays under the protection of the one who has initiated her. This is because an actual diksha opens up subtle channels of communication. And in the initial stages, the sadhak is vulnerable to all sorts of energies, both inauspicious and auspicious. It is the presence of the guru the aura of the Guru that protects such a sadhak, and therefore the physical presence and proximity of the Guru is absolutely essential in the initial stages of sadhana. That is why Pati Seva is considered the equivalent of staying with the Guru for a married woman. When we understand these things in depth and know it through experience, we will realize that Vivaha is not a hurdle for the married couple to pursue the spiritual path. In fact, Vivaha itself can become the path for spiritual progress.